champ! Chaemiko and HawK here meeting in the semifinals. Big prize money for these two already, right? They have 700 already in the bank. HawK got here with a bit of grid luck, I would say, right? Like,
how dare you?
didn't have the very toughest opponents. He played against Meng Bala in the round of 8, who we never heard of before. I don't even remember who we had before that. Round of 16, do you remember?
No. I was trying to fix the booster, which wasn't listed at first, but there it is. I mean, it's a good prize money, this tournament. It's kind of crazy, actually. Like, I heard you talk about it in your cast, I think maybe it was yesterday, but yeah, these guys are already guaranteed a fair chunk of money, and it keeps going higher and higher. Like, it's... honestly, it's a pretty sick tournament. When I saw that, I was like almost thinking, oh, maybe I should play, but then I was like, oh, I'll lose in the early rounds anyway.
Well, HawK made it here, and it's a nice little prize purse for him. First time he's making it this deep. Chaemiko was already in the semifinals last TeD Cup, where he played against 1-0 in a very close best-of-5 series. He lost that with 2-3, but he almost made it through. And it seems like he should be the favorite here. Although Chaemiko always had this, like, infamy about him, that he used to be so bad in Human Mirror. Can you speak to that? Have you played against Chaemiko before? What's your view on his Human Mirror capabilities?
I think he's pretty good, personally. I don't look at him and I'm like, oh, he's the best in Human Mirror. People are completely wrong, but I do think he's pretty good. Sometimes, like, you go through a bad stretch maybe in the matchup, and maybe that was true before, but these days I really feel like he's quite good at the matchup. I mean, remember, it was in DreamHack where Neo was saying that Fortitude was going to beat Chaemiko because Chaemiko has such bad mirror, and then I was like, okay, let's bet some money, and then I made some pretty easy money because Chaemiko destroyed him.
You always win these bets, don't you? Also against me, you won the bet in DreamHack once.
No, I lost a couple to Insub. I've also said before, like, human won't do that well and go that far, and then they've done better than I said, so I don't win all of these bets. I definitely lose a few.
True, you lost to Insub some. But you didn't have to dye your hair blonde, did you?
No. Well, the one time I had to dye it, right, a while back.
Yeah, was it blue or something?
Yeah, I think so. I don't even remember, actually. It feels like anything pre-COVID at this point is almost like a blur.
Have you gotten your vaccinations yet?
Yeah, I got the second one 48 hours ago, and not one side effect.
Damn, dude.
Like a Chad.
You're just such a baller. You're just an Adonis, a picture of a man. I finally signed up to my vaccination today, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna get it. They're saying it might take a while. I thought perhaps I was gonna have a word in which vaccination I was gonna get. I would have picked Johnson & Johnson because you only need one vaccination, right? But
yeah.
Couldn't choose anything. FML.
Feels bad. Well, I think it's probably not AstraZeneca. It's either Moderna or Pfizer. By the way, definitely a time I guess we could start talking about the game. Chaemiko played greedy, and I've noticed he likes to do that in Human Mirror on this map, which is a little bit unconventional in that he didn't get a tower, so he techs quicker. The downside of that is that if you get attacked, you can start losing peasants and then you won't have any lumber, but he kind of adapts his style by staying on his side of the map. Whereas HawK played a lot more standard. He got a tower, then he teched a little bit later, and he went to the other side of the map. That's usually what both humans used to do almost every game on this map.
Yeah, Concealed Hill definitely seems to be one of those maps that is fairly set in stone. You're going to tech up to tier 2, you're going to go to rifles. You're not going to fast expand, unlike on Last Refuge, for example. Oh, Chaemiko gets 2 footy kills here. Oh, that hurts. They were down from the creep camps. They were partly slowed there as well. But HawK still gets level 3 first, thanks to the militia creep across the map. But now we have those elementals ready to do some damage.
Ooh, is that a surround? Ooh, that was close, actually, on that footman. Yeah, that shot's the cancel. Chaemiko at least got the tower on time before the Archmage level 3 got there. If that wasn't the case and that tower gets cancelled, like it's almost game. You're just gonna lose. The Walker's trying to go for a surround and he locks it. Oh my god, he let him out.
He had him there for a second, didn't he? Chaemiko, of course, famous for how good he is at that, and he's gonna lock it in on the second try and gonna force that TP. Perhaps even gonna get a footy here. That would make it the 3rd footman kill. But he's still not quite level 3. We'll get that soon. The TP now gone. In some matchups, it's not always that painful to lose the TP. Sometimes it's worth it to use it early on. How scary, how painful is that in the human mirror? Having no TP now for a good number of minutes.
You can just play accordingly. Like, you know, it is scary later when you get into fights. You need to make sure you remember that you don't have TP, because sometimes you'll treat a fight as if, you know, you have that safe escape in case you get surrounded or targeted, which once the mount tanking is out can happen a lot, but it's not the end of the world. You know, you can rebuy one down the line. As the player that's forced the TP out, you also keep that in mind very strongly, that, you know, in the next fights, it's unlikely the opponent will already have another town portal, because, you know, you need to reach 50 supply as soon as possible. And maybe you go for that extra hero target.
And nowadays TP, it's cheaper, guys, remember. 325 gold only, which is a little bit less. Dude, I tried to think so much about what we could replace the Periapt with in the shop, because it's basically a wasted slot. Nobody ever buys Periapt. And don't get me started at FFA, guys. Shut the fuck up with FFA. In FFA, there's marketplace anyways, okay? You can buy anything, so. Back to the point at hand. What should we put in the shop for a Periapt? I think there could be something way better in there. Maybe a consumable or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe if Periapt is not good enough, buffing it a little would be okay. As far as like creativity for like, you know, buff, nerfs and stuff, that stuff, I think I'm not very good at like coming up with stuff personally. I mean, you know, I complain a lot about Human Against Undead. People always ask me, what would you do to change Human Against Undead? And I'm always like, I don't know. It's actually a very hard question. I feel like you would have to think about it for a while, really hard, and try to come up with solutions, which at the end of the day, to be honest, it's not really my job, and perhaps I wouldn't do very good in.
Bro, I've got ideas, let me tell you.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude. I've come up with some wild ideas recently. But it's I shouldn't mention it today, because this is just gonna derail chat at the very beginning, and then they're gonna start talking about, you know, patch changes and yeah. Some other day.
Oh my god. It's actually a pretty 6 round, look at this.
Oh, AM shows up. It could be a priest going down. The rest of the army for Chaemiko is not in range. He's gonna kill one priest. If he gets... Ah, shit! Oh! No, doesn't get it.
Ooh,
Goes
medallion.
Yeah, medallion. Really good. Int and strength for the Mountain King. Wonderful.
The player's forces are under attack.
And the other side, Chaemiko's power leveling his own Mountain King. Probably a cell that's called the Beast. I don't think you usually keep that. I mean, the opponent's gonna have priest and this peaceful. So you shouldn't be keeping it.
Alright, chat. I turned my voice down a little bit, so let me know if the volume is better now. Should be more in line, I suppose. So, how many priests do you make nowadays in Human Mirror? I think it used to be like 6, 7 or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's like sometimes some people just made only 3 and went into breakers earlier, but actually going up to 50 supply with only 1 or 2 breakers is also totally fine, because footmen are pretty good against breakers. So there's just many different ways to do it. It depends exactly like how you prefer microing in the fights. But I would say these days it's like 4 to 5. It really depends on players. If you feel like it, you can make a little more, and then wait until you go into breakers after you've expanded.
And we might be seeing that expansion now. On Concealed Hill, it's pretty tempting to go for an expansion, because the expo to expo distance is really far. You have to swerve over to the left or right and then go up. Going main to expansion isn't that far, but going expo to expo is just super far apart, which I think is a big reason why we see quite a bit of 2-base versus 2-base here in some matchups. And yeah, very mirrored here so far. I don't know, is there any kind of advantage visible? Well, I guess the Mountain King is the big one that stands out here, level 3 versus level 2. And yeah. Chaemiko looking for some more kills.
There is, I mean, supposedly HawK has defender's advantage because he's close to his base, but you can't really use too much militia here. He only has 2 peasant on lumber in his main base either. So it's kind of negated by the fact that he's expanding right now. Chaemiko sneaked 3 footmen to the expansion. Okay, HawK is in a world of trouble here.
We'd love to have a Water Elemental over there to defend that, but the AM is far away. Water Elementals are slow. 1 footy is sent over. We have a tower upgrading, but Chaemiko just seems to be a little bit faster with everything. Faster level 3, faster tech, faster expo, faster with the harass. And the Korean seems to be playing his way ahead here. I saw his game against Colorful in the round of 16. That was absolutely nutso. Yesterday he also played great. He made a few little mistakes, but here so far, this game is looking absolutely wonderful for the Korean, who of course has a bit of a ping advantage here on NetEase.
Player's forces are under attack.
Yeah, for sure. More than a bit. Actually, it's kind of crazy. These footmen, they found a little bit of damage. Like every time you see 3 footmen reaching the expansion when the opponent's really far away, you know there's going to be quite a few kills in there. He's doing a good job manually targeting those peasants as well here. And only one of them is left over for the moment. So that's a big income lead here that he had for a moment. And usually that translates into a healthy supply lead, which you then can attack with. And when I see the hero levels, there's really no advantage that, you know, HawK has at all right now in this game. Like he's not getting more upgrades than Chaemiko is. Like they're both getting their blacksmith now, so they will be kind of equal with that. The only thing I guess is that he has Medallion of Courage, which is nice, but that's about it. Like he needs to sell Escrow the Beast really badly.
The MK inventory I always feel like can make a difference in the late game. Like if the MK is level 4, he's got that level 2 bash, I mean. He's pretty strong right clicker as well if he does get to right click. And Gloves Ring Medallion is very nice here for HawK, whereas Chaemiko's MK has barely anything. Only the gloves are phased here, but he's gonna get a big item from the Drake. Would love to have an aura for these breakers. Robo the Magi, also good.
Yeah, I wonder, like, do you want to keep that on the Mountain King? It's always tricky. Like, if you increase your mana pool with intelligence, then the breakers, you know, could end up doing a number on you. But at the same time, you're not really supposed to get your MK targeted all that much. Like, you're supposed to position it well. You have invuln. You can just react supposedly pretty well to it. Look at these bloodlusted heroes of HawK. What a guy.
He's close to double level 4 here, isn't he? Yeah, if he gets the Drake, he's gonna have it, and he's gonna have the big item, so... Big upgrades here coming in for HawK, hoping for that wonderful drop. Oh, it drops at the fountain, though. Maybe the HawK, the Drake, I mean, falls back. That's a little annoying. And Chaemiko starts the fight with a 2-level advantage. Focusing the MK right away, but he is tanky thanks to those items. Invul given over, but HawK also has to deal with the creeps in the meantime. Invul activated on both Mountain Kings. Finally level up.
He never rebought Town Portal. That's because he was behind in the game. Like, he was already behind in supply. He wasn't doing so well in the fight. The Drake... Wait, was that a deny? I think, no, he got the XP. The Drake actually and creeps were doing a lot of damage onto HawK's army, and now he's in a world of trouble. I mean, he cannot even really afford the instant revive. He's going to restart the Mountain King from the altar, but the Mountain King of Chaemiko is about to do a number on these units here, and that's it.
GG is called. Clean game by Chaemiko. Just a few advantages here and there stacking up, and just, yeah, pulling it through in the end. Losing those 2 or even 3 footies early game, was that a big problem here, or where can we pin this loss on?
I think like the build order of Chaemiko is actually really nice, where like he takes very quickly and then he plays defensive. So the tech was a little bit later for HawK. And then just the fights didn't seem to be going his way at all. Yeah, like he's just started losing units. And then it's a very snowbally matchup, you know, like you lose like 1 or 2 units here and there, then it's going to mean you cannot fight as well after that against the opponent's army, and you also will creep slower. So you start immediately like, yeah, losing 2 footmen might not seem like the biggest of deal, but it actually is.
Map number 2 is going to be Last Refuge, and that one I am much more excited for, because this one can look a much more diverse in this matchup. We oftentimes see a fast expo, we oftentimes see a tech to tier 2 of course first, but also to tier 3. And Human Mirror, I still think if Human Mirror goes tier 3, it's the coolest mirror matchup by far. But oftentimes we're more stuck on a tempo-driven 1-base game, and then it's all about breakers. But here on LR, it could be different. In fact, I think both these guys favor fast expansion quite a bit, right? And Chaemiko also in the past used to play MK first here every now and then.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pull off Mountain King first, but it is doable. But nowadays, everybody's supposed to scout, see it, and I think most players, they know how to react against it. Like, you know, when you play Archmage against Archmage and Mercenaries, you're kind of going defend, but against MK, you absolutely don't go defend, because they're probably going to have Clap 2, ready to kill all those footies, so... We'll see. I think if anyone was to try and do a 1-base, it maybe I lean more towards Chaemiko here. It's really about like how the players are feeling like in expansion against expansion scenario, where the items are very important. Actually, last game there was no major, I guess, difference between the items that they got. Like HawK got a pretty decent item in the middle, but they got a lot of bad items. You know, like Scroll of the Beast, they both got it. There was a Crystal Ball for Chaemiko, which obviously is like kind of useless, even though you used it on the expo of HawK to see the timing on it. On Last Refuge, if they creep Mercenary Camp and then Small Green and then Expo, it's 3 items where you could get like some amazing ones or some really bad ones. So let's see what their creep route is.
Yeah, there was like a time in 2 weeks ago or something, or 3 weeks ago, where I swear it felt like it was 50% Belt of Giant Strength drop rate on Last Refuge, which is in many cases a horrible item. Unless you're playing Beastmaster first, then it's amazing. But yeah, these drops will make quite a difference.
On Mountain King is decent, I guess.
True. Yeah, but if you get something like Sobi Claw's Mantle early, that would be pretty crazy. The likelihood for that is rather low, but every now and then you hit the jackpot. Well, Todd, I guess you don't do too often. I see you walking around with a lot of rings all the time, but sometimes you get lucky.
And sometimes it happens for sure, like where I found like Robe of Magi and then like 2 damage and intel items, and it's like your hero just hits like a truck, and it's very rare to lose those games in my opinion, because like you're doing so well in every single fight you get into. You having to reconnect as well?
Yeah. I think the lobby kind of broke here though. I think we're gonna have to remake it. And the game is over, I think is what it says. Or is it?
Yeah, usually we might have to remake. It says 0 out of 24. RIP.
Yeah, I think we have to restart.
Who else TeD?
Bit of a hassle with netties. But TeD, always a good sport, is letting all the people into the lobby. I think that's what we saw with the Smile Cup. They didn't want to deal with so many people in the lobby, so we had to do a clean feed stream. Which is always a little bit annoying, especially when the observer doesn't check the main base for like 5 minutes straight.
Yeah, your observing was pretty poor this tournament, actually.
Up yours, Todd.
Nothing, no answer.
I noticed, as far as like smooth and gentle and pleasing to the eye camera work goes, I'm really not that good. I'm somewhat hectic, you know. I don't pay attention to making it an enjoyable viewing experience, you know what I mean? But I think I click on most things, so. Guys, I'm not gonna work on my camera work. Fuck that. Hell no. That's for other people to do.
I think that's because you're more of a like strategy, you know, like hardcore guy. Analysis more so than play-by-play. Like, of course, you can do play-by-play as well, but I think you're like a super hardcore strategy guy. Like, you want to see everything. You want to make sure you miss nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it also, I think, comes down a lot to how much you play. I play a decent amount, and you just click around a lot, you know.
Do you sometimes forget that you're casting and observing, though, and then you click all over the place, you're like, oops.
I'm not that wild. You know, that's the good thing, I guess, about me being a slow reaction boomer Andy with my 200 APM. I don't click that much in the first place, you know, so it doesn't get that crazy.
Okay.
Alright, we have map 2, ladies and gents. Let's go in. Chaemiko in the top right in the blue. HawK in the red. Seems like he's not allowed his favorite color, the periwinkle blue.
That's ridiculous. Those players, like, I don't know what it is sometimes with the obsession with colors, but I don't think it really matters. I mean, ideally, there should be an observer mode that just puts everybody as like red and yellow or something, and then players could just pick their own color. But yeah, it's not so important. You heard the story with the penalty points, right? In IEM?
For StarCraft? No.
No. So a long time ago, I was playing in IEM. I think maybe it was the first one, so like 2007 maybe, or 2006. And I had a match, I think it was online, against Ileg Duck. And we both liked to play with the dark green, you know, because you were kind of stealth on the map. So I think he picked the dark green, and then, you know, like, he was like a very strong personality. And the admins were like, no, you have to pick another color or you'll get penalty points. And then I picked maybe the other green. So it's like terrible for observers. And then the admin all the same was like, you need to change color or you're going to get penalty points. And I was like, give me those penalty points. So then I forfeited a percentage of my prize money, and I went on to win the tournament for 15k euro. So imagine the money I lost just for being green this one map.
Hashtag worth?
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you gotta stand your ground. I really regret that I never met Ileg Duck. I wonder, you know, what the guy was like in person. I'm pretty sure I would have not liked him because he seemed like such a dick, but would have been interesting.
No, he was great. There was an NGL finals in Germany where he just started gambling stuff. Like he just said like, oh, let's flip a coin for like my mouse pad, and then he lost. And he was like, oh, let's flip a coin for my mouse and like keyboard, and he lost everything. And then eventually he had almost nothing left, and he was like, let's flip a coin for my shoes. He lost it, and he was going around wearing socks, bro. Like that was just epic.
Oh my god, dude, what a degenerate. Very funny though. Wait, so he lost his mouse and stuff, but did they give him the mouse back for the matches when he was playing, or what?
No, but I think that was after, like, maybe they were eliminated or something. I think he was at the end of the day while we were going back to the hotel, like in a bus, that this was happening. Obviously, it's still blurry, like, because it was so long ago, but I just remembered, like, he was just gambling like crazy and he lost everything, including his shoes.
Hey, I gotta tell you, during summertime, I oftentimes walk around barefoot when it's too hot, you know, so... In winter, though, it would be rough.
Yeah, but not outside.
No, I mean outside.
Town is under siege.
But you walk around barefoot outside?
Yeah, I've gone to a club barefoot before, which was not a good idea. I had some glass shards stuck in my feet, and it didn't hurt that night, but it did hurt a hell of a lot the next day. But yeah, it's pretty comfortable, honestly.
Yeah, I was thinking that Neo is the hipster.
Well...
Wait, did he just... Ooh. Okay, so let's check the items quick. Quel'Thalas, Claws +5 ring. So decent other than for the ring, and there's actually the same thing almost, yeah. Except that instead of having ring, he has Gloves of Haste, so more attack speed. That is very decent for both, not too much imbalance.
Wand of Illusion here can also be a wonderful find. And on
you
the other
walk
side...
outside barefoot? Sorry, we need to get back to this.
Yeah, in summer, like as soon as it gets 30 degrees, I'm always barefoot.
But like, you mean barefoot, like no socks, no sandals?
Yeah, nothing. Barefoot.
You realize, like, this is unconventional, right?
Yeah, sort of. I think it would be a problem if I was living in like Berlin or Hamburg or something, where there's a lot of needles laying around and a lot of broken glass and a lot of unsanitary things. But Mainz is kind of a small city, honestly. There's not so much shit around. And normally I see where I'm going. It does get a little sketchy though when I get drunk, you know. But so far, it hasn't led to too many disasters, so I'm still doing it. Would be funny, imagine, dude, if I die from an infection in my foot because I was walking around barefoot.
It would be funny. It'd be sad, Remo.
It would
do
be
people
pretty funny
stare?
though.
Like if you go somewhere barefoot?
And then at my
like,
funeral,
I'm guessing you're the only one, right?
At my funeral, they play this VOD with me like forecasting it. That would be even better.
Alright, we got a fight. Gearing up here. Chaemiko was feeling confident enough to engage.
Oh,
wait,
the fake elementals.
Defend.
They ate the abolish.
Level 4 earlier for Chaemiko, so if you can keep those Shadow Priests alive, it's gonna be pretty good for him.
Yeah, HawK's struggling here. Has to call the militia, is that delaying his tech? It sure is. Chaemiko started tier 2 already. HawK has to pull back the boys. Not quite level 4 yet. He needs a little bit more. Can you imagine how weird the game would be if it was like in Dota, that you get experience for denies? That would be so strange. You would just be standing in the base all the time, denying your own summons or something. But HawK does hold here. And
wait, you get experience for denying your own units in Dota now?
Yeah, in Dota.
What the... And these guys have... They've gone crazy, Dota, with all these changes.
Wait, that's the way it used to be, at least. I haven't played for 3 years.
So, like, before, if you deny one of your units, or like one of your creeps, the opponent gets experience, but very little. You don't get experience yourself, right?
Yeah, like, they made a lot of changes with that. A while ago, you also would get a bit of gold for denies, but I don't think you get that anymore.
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch TI? Or are you...
Maybe. Yeah. I tune in a little bit here and there, but yeah, I haven't played Dota in a while, so sometimes I watch these tournaments and it's like, what is even happening? I don't know like half of the heroes.
Yeah.
That's oh my god, the foot is...
Oh, they're bugged! What are they doing?
Yeah.
Just standing there. Pathing sometimes can be pretty fun. What was I about to say? Yeah, MOBAs are horrible for observing if you don't know all the abilities and all the details. It's a complete disaster. But I do actually still know all the heroes. By now, they added so many new items, by the way. They even added neutral items, which is kind of like Warcraft. Like, from the neutral creeps, you find random items that drop at certain times in the game. Yeah, but I think it's still a pretty cool game. Thank you, by the way, to Baseline with a 21-month resub. And Chaemiko's about to hit level 5 here. One more footy. Get it! Get it! Oh, here we go. Big boy elementals.
Yeah, good luck abolishing those water elementals. You're gonna need like 6 of them. Mud Golem to the rescue. He's trying to force a town portal. There's abolish on time. Kind of surprised that they didn't get like a second racks and defense and stuff. That can be the standard usually in this type of game, but wasn't there here.
Panda? Panda type? Oh, here we go. Panda, pressure, let's go. Oh boy. That looks hard to hold, man. Level 3 elementals and a panda showing up. That's what we call a yikers.
I think he needs to try and synergize with the Arcane Tower, but he's fighting out in the open, and there is no militia coming off. Okay, he's just gonna give it up.
It's over. It's over, bro. That's it. Well, that's the second map. The series is not over yet. There's a best of 5. Chaemiko looking convincing today.
What's your favorite MOBAs, by the way? Or like, if you had to make a list from number 1 to, let's say, I don't know if you know that many, but let's say number 1 to 3 or 5. If you've even played that many.
Well, I only played 2. I played Dota. I played that a lot. I played that like 3,000 hours. And I played Heroes of Newerth for like 3 games. So I'm very heavily skewed to Dota 2. And I never played League. I never played Dota 1. So.
Oh, you never played the original Dota?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's crazy. I would say probably for me the original Dota, and then Heroes of Newerth. I was like massively addicted to at some points. I think that game is sick. I'm kind of sad it never became bigger. And then Dota 2. And then after that, like, I mean, I never really played any other one. Like, I played a little bit of League of Legends, but I didn't think it was very, or like, it wasn't for me. It wasn't very good in my opinion.
Yeah. Is there any other relevant MOBA nowadays? No, right? The MOBA hype wave is kind of over. And Dota and League are the ones that remain. There was Smite for a while, which also had like third-person stuff. But I think that one's gone.
Actually, I liked Heroes as well. I would rank Heroes probably number 4.
Oh, I forgot about that. I played Heroes. I didn't like that at all. It just seemed like a way simplified version of Dota. And the fact that you had heroes, like you had one hero and you were controlling that hero. That's all you did. You had one hero. And they didn't have items. That I found so stupid. That's like taking so much complexity and detail out of the game. I think that was a hard decision.
Well, you still had like, you know, the talents builds that you had to go for, and it's like a different dynamic. You need to make sure there is one player soaking experience on each lane and everything. It was still interesting.
No gold and shared XP, and it seemed very casual focused, which I didn't like so much.
Yeah, I still think there was a decent skill cap for sure for this, as there is for almost anything, to be honest. Like if you look at even like Tetris, you know, like it seems like, oh, it's a game where you're building blocks, but the skill cap is like infinite, right?
Dude, have you seen some of those YouTube videos where they do Tetris and then they get super fast, right? They get to the highest stage, to the highest difficulty, and they're dropping down super fast the blocks, and at some points all the building blocks become invisible. So they have to memorize all the building blocks, where they put them and where they were. So fucking crazy.
That's ridiculous. These guys are sick. Like, I watched the champions and stuff, like how fast they play. It's really insane. What game have you been really good at, or sports in the past?
I was, in my teens, pretty damn good at Counter-Strike 1.6. Among my friends, I was good in Super Smash Bros. Melee, but you know, it's just with your friends, so we were basically all noobs. And, sports? Nothing really. I never really did sports seriously. And Legion TD. I am, right now, very good at Legion TD. Believe it or
What's
not.
your ranking? Is there a ranking?
No, I don't play the ranking because I play a different game mode called PR, which is like randomized every round.
What was your go-to weapons in CS?
M4 and USP. I was really bad with AWP and also not too good with AK. But M4 and USP. That was my jam.
USP? Who the fuck cares about the basic gun, man?
Bro, it's wonderful. If you land that perfect headshot, it was pretty accurate.
Yeah. I like USP, but I think Desert Eagle is more fun.
Yeah, Desert Eagle is like the big dick, flashy weapon, but it's pretty hard to control. It's not very accurate, and it feels bad. Like you aim for the head, you miss, and then rip.
We need to organize some streams someday with Warcraft 3 people just playing other games. You know, it would be fun.
Oh, we've been doing like some in-house games with our Patreons, and we've been doing that monthly. If you want to do that, check out patreon.com/backtowwarcraft. You can join us. And we've been playing like some fun maps. And the one that B-Dude showed us and Carson was, God, what was it called? Wizard Wars Harry Potter, where you basically have one wizard and they have some different skills, which are all like skill shots, you know, like far-traveling projectiles, and you have a dodge mechanic and a shield, and it's pretty cool. I think we're starting to get addicted to that.
Wasn't there a use map setting where it's like, I forgot the name, but it's like all different missions. Like one of them, you need to dodge like spikes coming around and like all stuff like this. You know what I mean? Isn't that like Uther Party?
Uther Party, yeah. We also played that quite a bit. That's also
that one
fun.
is sick.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you, By Sly, with the 6-month resub. We have our third game, ladies and gentlemen's. It's gonna be pretty straightforward, but it's gonna be Amazonia. And that means we're gonna go one base tech into breakers. Todd, are you fucking excited? Hell yeah, bro. Let's go.
It's gonna be great. And yeah, Neo was right. Chaemiko's human mirror is looking terrible.
Yeah. Neo knew it all along. Dude, how do I keep messing up this overlay?
How do you mess it up?
You gotta keep me in check here, Todd. You gotta keep me in check. I
don't even know how you messed it up.
I had the colors on the wrong side.
But
now...
Oh, you have to manually type it in?
No, it detects the player name and the game info, so the, you know, supply and the colors and everything, but you have to flip it to the correct side. It doesn't do that automatically.
Alright, I'm curious whether they are gonna creep to level 3 or play more aggressive. It really seems like the meta has shifted with that. Like you creep level 2 and then you head to center and then you just kind of start fighting immediately, but I still would like to see, you know, that orange camp in the center being crept from either side.
It seems like here the items can make a big difference. If we get claws, mantle claws on one side and a couple of rings on the other, it feels bad, man. Let's see what we get here. No lightning shield on HawK side. How much faster is the creeping if you do the lightning shield, by the way? It seems like most humans try to do it, but... Okay, in this case,
I think it doesn't really matter.
Faster.
Chaemiko did block himself a bunch. Look at his peasants. If HawK notices here, like, he should want to be very aggressive. It's like those peasants, they're gonna die very quick, and then you wreck the lumber economy of the opponent. You force him into a shredder, which is still, like, really hard to afford. So I'm curious whether he's gonna pick up on it. I don't think that footman of HawK was close enough to see that those peasants took a bunch of damage. And remember, previously Chaemiko was the greedy one. He skipped tower pretty much every time.
Oh, look at the footy. Pulls out the Cobalt camp. That's kind of cool. Delaying a possible creep there. So Chaemiko just says, fuck it. We're just gonna run across. As far as items go, HawK has a slight upper hand with a circlet, but also mantle on Chaemiko, so comparable. And Chaemiko again with the fast tech before the tower. He's gonna make it to tier 2 a little faster.
Yeah, HawK actually did the militia thing on the Murlocs very early, so he has no lumber. The tech difference is gonna be insane this game because of this. Dude, he hasn't started tech.
Oh, he needs 2 more wood. He needs a little bit more wood. I know that feeling. Tech starting now. Okay, finally.
A player's
Are you also lacking wood when you wake up after your 1 hour of sleep?
All right, Todd, we have to keep this family friendly, please. we are back to Warcraft here, okay? This is gonna be shown to kindergartners. Oh my god, I hope not, dude. That would be a very bad idea.
Yeah, especially the part about walking barefoot in the streets.
I think kids are more on my side there than adults are. I think they're walking around barefoot quite a bit.
Yeah, but not on the streets or in the supermarket, bro. Like in playgrounds or at home. Okay, maybe not outside playgrounds.
There's gonna come a day. There's gonna come a day when the Remo new meta is gonna take precedence.
But apparently it's healthy to do that in that like you connect like with the ground. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I think I read or saw something about this. But it's just like in today's world, there is so much garbage everywhere on the ground. I don't know if you want to be walking there.
Yeah, that's kind of true. But the thing about me is, I have a very tough time getting disgusted. Like the level of disgust I can tolerate is amazing. Like you wouldn't believe it. One of my big talents, you know, Todd.
Well, I've seen footage of you at a club, so I know all about it.
True, big true. It's very funny, you know, in summer when I'm walking around barefoot, one of my best friends, Ardit, he has this weird, it's basically a phobia about feet. He hates feet, he finds them super gross, and every time I crack up when I'm walking around barefoot and he finds it absolutely disgusting. And sometimes I put my feet in his face, you know, good times like that. Even his girlfriend, who is, by the way, super gorgeous, he hates seeing her feet. He tries to avoid seeing her feet all the time, and it has come to this that
what the hell?
Even at home, she will always wear socks because he dislikes it so much. Now, that's not because he explicitly told her not to expose her dirty, dirty, ugly feet, but she just was like, you know, he finds it gross, I'm just gonna wear socks. I find that more weird.
Sounds like she picked the wrong Romeo, or should I say, the wrong Remo Demo.
I find that more weird that people have this extreme disgust about feet. It's just, you know, it's just a part of the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought it was the opposite with some of the kinky mofos out there.
There's that as well. There's also foot fetish guys. One of the most famous ones being Quentin Tarantino.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is.
Well,
did you see the Quentin Tarantino podcast with Joe Rogan?
Oh, no. Is it good?
It was pretty good, yeah. It wasn't amazing, but it was pretty good. I haven't heard Tarantino too much in the past. I have heard quite a few film critics and stuff saying that Tarantino is basically a douchebag. So I was interested to seeing him in a long-form interview. He doesn't come across to me as a douchebag, just, you know, kind of eccentric.
I think it depends. Like, there's no such thing as like someone being like a, you know, a big douchebag in every situation. But yeah, sometimes some people will have a bad interaction with someone and then they'll be labeled, or like a few people, because like he might have like a strong personality or something. Oh, but yeah, like for example, there's some people that have met you and they're like, oh, Remo's a douchebag, you know.
Oh my god,
actually all right most of the time.
Dude, there's a good number of them. Like, seriously, like I can be very obnoxious when I'm drunk. I do realize that, and it's not very cool. I've actually gotten in a bit of an argument with Ricky about this when I was being a bit of a dick towards Ricky. I'm sorry, Bidu. You know, it's just sometimes it is what it is. Counter surround now. HawK was trying to get the surround before, didn't get it, and he might be the one to lose the MK. Oh, Chaemiko just so clean with these kills. Takes out the MK, takes out a footy, has one more Stormbolt against soon, but he is gonna retreat here now. Doesn't want to fight against the militia.
Is there a third place match? There isn't, right?
No.
Let me check. Yeah, I believe there isn't. That's kind of unfortunate because this is really not HawK's series at all. Nothing's been going his way.
And Chaemiko with his lead here is going to call the boys, go over to the natural, and seems like he's going to expand here. Nothing that HawK can really do about this, except creep himself. But now he's getting big experience that's not going to the Mountain King, which is always a bit annoying.
Let's see, needs a good item. Scroll the beast, oh no. On the other side, I guess Chaemiko doesn't need a good item because he's a decent amount ahead, I would say. HawK is the one that needs like a greater healing. Greater mana. Those don't really come into play that much because you always go bolt bash, you never go clap here. So you always have enough mana technically already.
Next big item for Chaemiko. Oh, I was about to say, AM shouldn't suck up the XP. I think the MK got all of it. Throw the Magi. Pretty good. And he's gonna get close to level 3 here. Oh, he might even get it.
He's gonna
That's
get
again
it.
gonna be a big level lead.
It's gonna be 4-3 against 3-2. I think if Chaemiko just attacks next, like I don't see how HawK's ever gonna hold here. Gets a belt. Have you seen any good movie recently, by the way?
Oh, I watched The Zodiac not too long ago. You know, the old movie from David Fincher. I love David Fincher. Didn't like that movie that much. I feel like it was kind of rambly.
Oh, the Zodiac Killer, you mean?
Yeah, the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, okay.
I watched Lincoln like half a year ago. I love that movie. I watched The Martian not too long ago. I love that movie. But in terms of new movies that I really liked, I can't remember right now. But my memory is pretty bad, so I think there was one or two.
Okay, I think Chaemiko's about to put an end to this series here. One of the only cinemas near me that plays movies in English. Somehow they don't have any movies in English other than Fast 9, which I'm very certain is going to be a pile of garbage. So I'm a little bit hesitant on whether I should pull the trigger on that one.
Dude, I feel like if you're in the right mood, just for some super trash, for some stupid over-the-top action, for some scenes where there's a helicopter pulling a train, which is pulling some cars, like, and sometimes those movies are pretty funny. But of course they are very, very stupid. The last big movie I guess I saw was Once Upon a Time in America, no, in Hollywood, from Tarantino, and I was kind of disappointed with that, to be honest. HawK gonna have to TP out here. Because I love Tarantino. I thought, especially the other one, what was it called? The Hateful Eight was an absolute masterpiece, but Once Upon a Time, I didn't like it so much. I don't know, maybe it's gonna ruin me at some point. But HawK is still heavily down here in this game. He does have level 3 MK now.
Did you know a lot about like the history of like around this?
With like the Manson family and stuff?
Yeah,
like, yeah, like the normal amount, I guess.
It's kind of interesting how he has his own timeline of things, you know, and like anything different might happen. And the thing with Bruce Lee as well was kind of crazy. I heard he even talked about it, you know, on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah. I mean, he just portrayed him as a bit of a dick, which honestly I think Bruce Lee may have been. You know that famous interview where he's like, you have to be water, my friend, right?
Yeah.
That's a famous quote. I watched the whole interview, and he comes off as so pretentious, I think. But, you know, I just saw him in that one interview. This might be completely wrong. But the fact that people get so upset that Bruce Lee gets portrayed in a somewhat bad way is like, dude, it's basically a comedy film. Get your head out of your ass.
Well, a lot of people think like it's an entirely true story. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, it's obviously not. Like, the movie goes crazy towards the end. I thought it was funny what he did with the alternate timeline. And, you know, the gory, super brutal finale of Tarantino towards the end. I loved the end of the movie. Just the first 1.5 hours, I was not too intrigued, I suppose.
Yeah.
HawK is about to lose this game here. He's getting pushed into the back of his expansion. He's down in supply. He finally caught up on levels. It's the breaker upgrades. 1-0 against 0-0.
This has been over for a long time, guys.
Okay, has good items, but not good enough. Oh! Invul potion. Alright. Mana pot used. Maybe he can get his own MK kill, but there's Invul as well.
Yeah, I don't see what HawK can do here. Like, the way this has been going, he's been getting outplayed the whole series. Chaemiko literally marched across the map and he was like, I'm gonna drop my items right here, pick them up with my NK game when he gets here, and then kill pretty much whatever I want to kill, which in this case was the Mountain King and then some more units in charge the whole time.
Little by little, he's whittling away. And I think you hit the nail on the head. He's just... Chaemiko just has been outplaying HawK every step of the way. It wasn't super one-sided. It wasn't like HawK didn't have a chance. HawK played decently here. But Chaemiko just did everything a bit better. And it's gonna be our finalist, our first one of the day. HawK is still holding on here, fighting like a lion. But he's gonna be put down by Scar here soon. He's being pushed down to the Stampede, and he's gonna be trampled by Chaemiko. Damn, did you see that sick reference I did there of the Lion King, Todd? Oh my